We are going to start. How are we doing on the numbers, Karen?
Yeah, we could probably kick off now. That's 10:35. If I could just ask everyone to be on mute while presenters are presenting, please. And if you have to leave, you won't be able to join again until the presentation is finished. We won't admit people mid-presentation. And thank you very much for your support, everyone. It's great to see you all here. Thank you.
Yeah, you've got to get past Karen's security just to get into this session. So I think we'll get going if that's all right with everybody. So welcome everybody. Welcome indeed to the 2021 Grey Matters Showcase event. Like Karen said, a bit of housekeeping before we start. Please mute your microphone. You know, we don't want to hear the dog barking when your Amazon delivery gets to the door. 2, would you put your viewer onto speaker view rather than gallery view, so our presenters get a little bit bigger on your screen? And 3, if you smell smoke, run, because it's your house that's on fire, and that's not ours. Okay. Hi, good morning. I'm John Harris, and I'm hosting this event from Elevator here in Aberdeen. And again, thank you all for virtually being there for our cohort today. I actually mean for being there virtually for our cohort today. We have 7 amazing new ventures to launch today, and while I'm confident you'll be blown away by the pitches, it's really important to remember that the members of the cohort only met. In fact, they never really met because the cohort has been entirely virtual, but they virtually met for the first time in November. That was just 15 short weeks ago. They came together to discover, develop, and deliver exciting new business ideas that have the potential for high growth. They committed to embark on the Grey Matters program, and with help from a number of industry experts and volunteers, many of whom are here with us on this call today. Thanks, guys, for coming. They work collaboratively, supportively, and extremely diligently to identify pain points, evaluate societal and industrial needs, identifying opportunities, and on that premise to create innovative solutions. So through the process, each member of the cohort was tasked to come up with a business idea. These were then ranked, and the cohort then played to their strengths to form diverse and immensely capable teams around these leading ideas, which is why you might see some members of the cohort in more than one of the pitches here today. So I'd just like to take a moment, first of all, to thank the sponsors of this cohort, Scottish Enterprise. Thank you, you've been with us since the beginning. The OGTC, to BP, and to PTTEP, Thai National Oil Company. Thank you for your support. We could not do this without you. Indeed, we're all extremely grateful to all of you, all of our guests, for joining the call here today, for being part of this showcase event. You'll witness the launch of 7, as I said, businesses that, believe me, would welcome, and they really need your keen interest and support to help them thrive. The cohort would also appreciate your discretion in handling the information you see today, because although where patents have been applied for where possible, there remains considerable commercial sensitivity due to the relative freshness of these ideas. So the session will, when I shut up, consist of a rolling format of 10-minute presentations or pitches. And we haven't scheduled time between the pitches for questions. Rather, we encourage you to go and visit the founders afterwards in the breakout rooms. When all the teams presented, they have a breakout room which at the mere click of a mouse, you can join, and they'd welcome your interest, your questions, your comments, your contacts, your investment, your field trials, bags of money. Now, without further ado, I invite you to sit back and enjoy the 2021 Grey Matters Showcase event. And we're going to kick off today with Rob Marshall and his eggs in the box. Rob, over to you.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us in our showcase today. During the 1924 expedition to scale Mount Everest, George Mallory and his climbing partner, Sandy Irvine, disappeared on the mountain's northeast ridge. Agonizingly, they were only 800 feet from the summit. I'll say that again, 800 feet. Now, whether Mallory and Irvin reached the top before they died remains a subject of some speculation even today. 29 years after Mallory, and after numerous but ultimately unsuccessful attempts by other climbers, New Zealander Edmund Hillary achieved what was seen as an almost impossible task and stood atop the world's highest mountain. In a later interview, Hillary said, "I've never regarded myself as a hero, but Tenzing undoubtedly was." I want you to think about that for a second. Hillary put his success down to the 400-strong team who helped him get there, not to branded clothing or some newfangled technology. No, it was the team. 70 years on, and over 10,000 people have now reached the top of Everest, with many using Hillary's route. Many didn't follow in Hillary's footsteps and have failed. Hillary's achievement is a great example of where it was the people that were critical to the success of the team. And without the people, what would Hillary's legacy actually be? Ladies and gentlemen, let's now bring you back in from the cold and into the warmth of our nest. I'm Innes, and as I think you can see, I'm definitely not a mountain climber. That said, early in my project management career, my playground was even higher than Everest, as I worked with hugely talented teams of engineers and scientists who put astronauts and satellites into space. And a lot of people don't know this, but Hillary was a beekeeper. Well, like Hillary, I'm also a beekeeper. And I like to think that Hillary learned about communication and teamwork from his bees, just as I have done from mine. And if you're interested, I'm doing showcase discounts if you want to see me later. Together with our founder, Rob Marshall, and my colleagues, Michael Allen and Mike Coots, we are Eggs in the Box. Our team has more than a century of experience across a multitude of regions and cultures. Within the hen house, we have a wealth of valuable experience across many industries, such as the armed forces, energy, aerospace, R&D, motorsport, and food supply chains. We've helped companies work more efficiently and effectively, from corporate offices for sure, but also in the field, from the middle of the Sahara Desert to the depths of the oceans, to the skies and beyond, as I said. As individuals, we've had many successes and quite a few misfires, but we've always learned from every project. Now we are birds of a feather and can harness the power of the right team. The knowledge gained from our many years of industrial experience helps us to inform and drive the right decisions for others.
Thanks, Innes. A global pandemic, Brexit, and the race to net zero. Never have we been so impacted by so much uncertainty and with such urgency to understand and address it. Time and time again, we see costly white elephant solutions being used rather than an admission that smaller and more cost-effective solutions are what's really required. In 2001, having spent the previous 2 years successfully setting up a specialist division for an oilfield service major down in West Africa, I was recalled back to Europe HQ. The company wanted me to look at how they managed all their equipment, pumping trucks to production vessels, seismic vessels to downhole perforating guns, everything across all of their different business lines. Now, even though I'm an experienced engineer, you can imagine the task was frankly daunting. Uncovering the many ways the company was operating with was literally like opening a can of beans and worms all at the same time. We were operating like these guys and their 57 varieties. It literally blew me away. With a coordinated approach now required, I handpicked a team of experts from different areas of the business and set about the task. By analysing the problems before formulating a solution, we demonstrated to the leadership team that we could indeed cut out the waste and operate far more efficiently. At the time, my colleagues in Norway were under threat of losing their explosives license. Rather than formulate yet another flavour of beans and wanting to prove our concept in the field, I stepped up to the plate and we proposed our solution. Working with local personnel, we achieved Norwegian licensing authorities approval and successfully deployed in less than 4 months. Almost 20 years on now, and there have been no more operating license threats, and our system continues today, regardless of all the staff changes there have been over that time period. Setting the right solution in the place to start with, and with the right people's buy-in, It allowed us to set the right culture in place and ensure longevity. At Eggs in the Box, by asking you and your team the right questions, and importantly, listening to the answers, we understand the actual problem you need to solve and help you select the right technologies and processes.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. As you say, it's most certainly all about the people. You know, I was once part of a team who truly recognised that in order that we make a positive change for our wider business, we couldn't just continue with the same old ways of doing things. No, we actually utilised a culture assessment format to award a £500 million contract to a service provider, £500 million. The costs and performance metrics of the organisation were all very similar, but we wanted a positive behavioural change in the way our organisation worked. We wanted a service provider that stood out from the crowd by their operating culture. Our ambition is to help you put the right solution in place and actually make it last, to help you improve productivity in your bottom line. We actually help both startup and existing businesses to identify and remove inefficiencies and waste from their organisation. By working with and not selling to your organisation, I'll say that again, we're working with, not selling to organisations. We empower everyone in the team to take ownership, play their part in the change journey, thus creating that buy-in factor that's critical for any pathway to success, regardless of technology or process. Sharing our experience with your team and acting as a coach, mentor, and possibly a guide, your team's ideas can develop from embryo and hopefully take flight. At Eggs in the Box, we provide a business-to-business service, predominantly companies located in Scotland at the moment, large and small, from within energy, construction, defence, and engineering. However, we are ready to spread our wings to other business areas, regions, and ultimately to countries. Just some of the current IP includes a safety culture training program scalable for any engineering services company, a quality management system for new and growing businesses, learning needs analysis where we work with private and government enterprises and how to deliver local content. So if you're a business looking to know where your challenges lie, Eggs in the Box want to work with leaders just like you who understand that success comes from empowering the team using the right people to build the right culture for change. I'm now going to hand you back to Rob to take us back to where he started the presentation.
Right, back out into the cold and some photos to remind us of the great achievements in 1953. Here's a picture of 35 or so of the 400 strong team that helped get 2 climbers to the top. Below them, of course, that's Hillary and Tenzin. Today, there's a whole encyclopedia of statistics that have been compiled on Everest. But in 1953, none of those mattered a jot to Hillary. Why is it then, when we want to tackle our own mountainside challenges, we look at businesses who throw numbers at us rather than work with people who have already scaled their own Everest? Let's move forward 49 years. In 2002, Peter Hillary and Jamling Norgay recreated their father's footsteps to summit Everest. National Geographic, who conducted the expedition, aired this in 2003 to celebrate the historic success of Sir Edmund and Tenzing. In reality, P&L was as critical to Hillary as the route he followed. P&L? Yeah. The people we empower and the legacy they create for others. Ladies and gentlemen, let's learn from Hillary. Let's put the power of people first. Let's develop the best environment for your business and create your legacy. Eggs in the Box, local guides, helping your people conquer your business Everest. Please call into our hen house later today, or just drop us a line at the contacts provided, and let's discuss how Eggs in the Box can help feather your nest for success within these uncertain times. Thank you very much for everybody for listening.
Thank you, Rob. I was going to use an egg pun, but actually I thought you'd had enough in your presentation. I'll leave it there. I will leave it there. Please, on the call, could you make sure you mute your microphones when you join? Right, so we're going to move on and over to Mike and his Aquanauts at Aquanatus. Mike, are you there?
I am, John. Thank you very much. Good morning and welcome. I'm Mike Coots and I'm joined today by my teammates Andy Rose and Mark McCarlin, and we are Aquanatis. We're here to introduce the Rescue Ray, the world's first self-launching autonomous rescue-capable life preserver. You know, our Aquanatis journey only started back in December of 2020, right here on the Grey Matters course. We just received a fantastic lesson in Zoom, and the presenter had offered us the chance to connect online, so I jumped straight onto the internet to do just that. I made the connection quite quickly, and I was just away to leave the site when my eye was caught by one of those little video adverts that crop up all the time. It was a commercial for a remote-controlled, self-propelled life preserver, and I thought it was pretty ingenious, actually. But the more I watched, the more I felt that something was missing. Then it hit me. What do you do if nobody's there to see you fall in? Let me paint a vivid picture in your minds to demonstrate. It's a cold, dark, and stormy night. And not even the ever-hungry seagulls are brave in this weather. You've been at sea for 18 days and you're out on deck to do your checks at the start of another 12-hour shift. The wind howls and the sleet lashes you from all directions. You're still a bit groggy after a restless sleep, and your mind is preoccupied with thoughts of your wife back home and your baby daughter who was only born a couple of months ago. You slowly make your way along the deck, but the slippery wet surface never stands still as the waves crash below. All of a sudden, you lose your footing and you topple overboard into the icy water. None of the rest of the crew were there to see what happened, and nobody's expecting you back anytime soon. You're in the water and you're all alone. You cry out, but the wind carries your voice away. You try to swim, but the relentless waves just move you further and further from safety. And even though you were wearing a life jacket, it's no protection from the cold. With every minute you spend in that icy environment, your chances of rescue and your chances of survival drift further and further away. Now that's a horrific scenario, but it's one that's in our news headlines far more often than we care to think about. Hundreds of thousands of people drown or die of open water exposure globally every year. 263 lost their lives around the UK in 2018, a further 223 in 2019. As for 2020, we're still waiting for the figures. Roughly a third of these deaths are through people falling into the sea unexpectedly, and most weren't even wearing a life jacket. But regardless of the circumstances, the numbers speak for themselves. And if this was your wife, husband, son, or daughter, wouldn't you like a better solution to keep them safe? Andy.
Since Mike first came up with the idea of the Rescue Ray, we have recognized several other genuine opportunities for functional improvements over existing self-propelled life preservers. As well as the obvious requirement for autonomy, we also see a need for inbuilt flexibility, allowing our rays to be configured to meet any operational challenge. As such, the rays are specifically designed to incorporate a large selection of industry standard life-saving features, as well as an additional functionality that is unique to the Rescue Ray. So standard features such as dual side operation, self-propulsion, strobe lighting are complemented with our unique features, including things like built-in two-way communication, onboard controls to allow you to get yourself to safety, and of course, our autonomous rescue capabilities. Whatever your needs, we've got you covered. And since the Rescue Ray has been developed to be the same size as the old yet familiar 30-inch life ring, it can be mounted in much the same way, wherever it may be required. This means you don't need to worry about lots of extra infrastructure, and since the housing is also a dedicated charging station, the Rescue Ray is always ready to launch, whether that be under autonomous or manual control. Mike.
Thanks, Andy. Bearing that in mind, let's rewind a bit and see what we at Aquanatis envisage if our Rescue Ray were keeping watch. You're still sleepy, the deck is still lurching, and you still fall overboard into the cold water. This time, however, you're being looked out for by a Rescue Ray, which is automatically launched and is on its way. Before you realise what's happening, the ray approaches. You see the bright colours and the flashing lights appearing out of the gloom, and you grab onto the handles. At the same time, you hear the welcome voice of a crew member through the inbuilt communication system. Are you okay? Can you speak? Don't worry, we know you're in the water and we're on our way. You are wearing one of our personal rescue transponders that automatically activated shortly after you enter the water. It sent a signal to the dedicated docking station, which automatically launched the Rescue Ray and raised the alarm to raise the crew to your situation. Within seconds, the Rescue Ray had powered its own way to you, providing essential buoyancy and vital reassurance that help is on the way. And meanwhile, others now know that you've fallen overboard and they've initiated a full-blown rescue. But what if you're unconscious? The rescue ray will still make its way to you, and it will still have alerted the crew to the situation. It then serves as a pinpoint beacon to your location, allowing the rescue party to get to you in the quickest time possible. No precious seconds wasted looking for a needle in a haystack of one of Earth's harshest environments. Martin.
Thanks, Mike. Don't we all just love a happy ending? Ladies and gentlemen, the rescue ray has been designed to deliver the best possible outcome. Its whole concept is driven by a passion for saving lives. As such, your beachhead will be global water safety, more specifically, the very attractive life preserver segment of the market. We envisage our rays performing in large bodies of water such as seas, lakes and rivers, or any other water location where unfortunately people have perished. After all, even the best lifeguards have only one set of eyes and can't watch everybody. It's just impossible. One of our key strengths at Aquanatis is that we want to listen to the people like you and study real problems in order to give our customers exactly what they need. Our research and initial engagements with water authorities and safety organisations such as the RNLI, Maritime Safety and the Coast Guard have all been extremely encouraging. They too, like us, are driven by the need for better life-saving equipment. During a recent conversation with DASA, that's the Defence and Security Accelerator, they showed a great interest in our technology. They saw the potential of the ray working alongside our respected Navy globally. Deborah, who I think might be in the audience today, made us aware for uses of the ray that we hadn't even thought about. And this drives home the very important point. We can't do this all on our own. With your help and input, I am convinced there are even more applications that are still to be revealed. And that's really exciting, isn't it? Collaboration with these key industry bodies will ensure the rescue ray is continually developing. We just don't want the ray to meet the strictest safety and performance requirements. We want to exceed and stay way ahead of the competition. Now let's talk about where we are in terms of ongoing design and development. At present, we are sitting towards the end of technology readiness level 2 and looking to move into the proof of concept and prototype phases. In layman's terms, NASA would say we're still doing research and proving the concept. To get there, we will draw on exciting technologies, common used in other established areas of industries. This benefits us all by removing unnecessary risks when bringing the rescue ray to the market. We're investigating established tech such as the geeky world of industrial drones, remote control vehicles, and current water safety devices. The good news is that these components and materials have been proven over a number of years. One really important point, our team regards the integration of all this different tech and how we do it as one of the key differentiating factors. Executed properly, it will give our rescue ray the ability to be the best life preserver on the water. Together, let's kick ass out of those horrible statistics mentioned by Mike at the start of the presentation. Once our rescue rays are ready to launch onto the market, we will offer our customer numerous routes for sales and service rental inquiries. The simplest sales path will be to approach Aquanatis directly. Alternatively, customers can use our dedicated website or our affiliated third-party suppliers. We are very focused on making it easy to do business with us. Now, let me float you safely back to Mike to conclude our presentation.
Thank you, Martin. Hopefully now you'll understand that the world still has a problem and that there's a real need for the fully autonomous life preserver we call the rescue ray. We understand that some of you will have been given our contact details, but we would love to share more of our plans with any of you if our technology has tweaked your interest. We would love to speak to you if you think you can help us on our journey with our rays. We definitely want to work with you if you share our belief that one life lost is one life too many. Please come and join us in our breakout room at the end of the presentations, where we'll be happy to talk further about ourselves, our exciting plans for our rescue rays, and what we require from people like you in order to give the world a better life-saving option. Saving lives isn't easy, but we could bring a ray of hope to those who need it. We were Aquanatis. Thank you for taking the time to listen.
Well done, Mike, Andy, and Martin. Thank you very much. Brilliant. So next up, we have the very topical Breathe Insights. And to lead the Breathe Insights team, we just had somebody join, if you could mute, yeah. Next, we have the topical Breathe Insights. Leading the Breathe Insights team is Simon. Simon, it's over to you.
There goes another terrified soul, rushed into hospital, fighting for breath, fighting for life. Lung failures are the second largest cause of emergency admissions. Linda worries about her patients. She's a senior physio in lung rehabilitation. She's particularly worried about Dave. His recent heart ops left him in pain, and he's scared. He'll only exercise when he's supervised. And then there's Kate, recently discharged with COPD, but also suffering from obesity and depression. Linda fears one day Kate will simply drop out of the system altogether until that 999 call, or even worse. And Frank, keen triathlete until COVID left him with dizzy spells and shortness of breath. He's going to need careful management to recover. And she also worries about her team. Before COVID, they were stretched, but now they're completely overwhelmed. Thank goodness she's got a great sense of humor. Linda knows lung changes can happen at any time, often with devastating consequences. But what if she had constant insight? What if her team could be alert to whoever needed support? They could intervene before the things became critical. And with 24/7 oversight, patients would feel reassured and take more responsibility for their exercises. When we demoed our prototype, Linda absolutely loved it and agreed to a pilot immediately. She saw huge benefits. For Dave, he'd now be able to play an active part in his own rehabilitation. For Kate, she'd get the rescue meds when she needs them, and other services if her health worsened. And for Frank, his rehab would now be based on the data to make sure he didn't overdo it. And for our staff, more manageable caseloads and less exposure to the virus. Hi, I'm Simon Marr, co-founder of Breathe Insights. Co-presenting with me today are Kay Drummond and Martin Goodlad. Here's Kay to tell you about her business.
The impact of COVID on the NHS has been immense. Many lung patients are at risk of not getting the care they need until it becomes critical, and that's a perfect storm. The good news is that across the world, we're seeing a shift towards developing technologies to enable remote healthcare. In the US, for example, we know that protocols are being relaxed to encourage remote innovations, and we know that the UK is heading in that direction too. The even better news is, for lung patients, we have that solution, and it's in Scotland right now.
It all starts with this little beauty here. It's a smart sensor about the size of a 50p piece. Stick it on your stomach with a plaster, and it measures rib cage and diaphragm movement, as well as nasal pressure. It connects automatically to a phone, and using an app, the patient has the option to select exercises and keep a diary. But all measured data is uploaded. In the cloud, we use analytics and artificial intelligence to classify posture changes, types of exercise, and breathing events. The model's been trained over thousands of hours to improve its accuracy. These developments are the culmination of more than 5 years research at Edinburgh University, and the innovative methods have been patent protected in 3 continents. Would you like to see it working? On the right is a real-time feed from a patient. The graph shows the current breathing rate and flow rate. The animated figure at the top shows the patient's current activity. They are walking, coughing, standing, coughing again, and sitting down. On the left are examples of the dashboards showing trends over time. The clinicians get alerts when there's a problem, and patients feel reassured there's someone looking out for them as they exercise. By working together, patients can be kept out of hospital for much longer.
The value is in the data processing and interpretation and how this translates into improved outcomes for patients. This model will enable clinicians to monitor patients at scale from a distance like never before, preventing patients from dropping out of the system and enabling planned, personalised care. Clearly, this level of focus can bring down the number of unplanned blue light emergency admissions to hospital, saving valuable time and money. And there are obvious savings right across the board. We're ahead of the curve with this technology. It brings unique value to the market at this critical time.
Clinicians are busy people. They don't have time to wade through reams of data to find the problems. So we help them with configurable alerts for intervention. These can be tailored for each patient. At one end of the spectrum, they might only intervene if the patient doesn't get up or change position for several hours, or their breathing rate falls dangerously low. At the other end, they might only intervene if the patient's exercises aren't completed. Interventions can range from simple measures, such as phoning up the patient or their carer to find out why things have changed, through to changing the medication or adapting the care approach for better outcomes.
So, our vision is to become the global leader in this field. We want all patients to benefit from clinical oversight and get the best from their lungs wherever they are in the world. The respiratory devices global market is valued around £20 billion, and that's growing at more than 10% every year. Even if we reach just 5% of patients and capture 0.1% of the market, we would have a £20 million business within 5 years. And we think this is very achievable. Now, over to Martin for the very latest on our target markets.
We are delighted that we have signed our first pilot with Linda's community care team within Borders NHS. City Deal Innovation Fund provided £25,000 for the trial and to support the business plan for commercialisation. The trial will involve 10 devices which will be tested among staff before being allocated to patients. This is fast validation for our solution and the first of many pilots for Breathe Insights within the NHS. Validation in our primary market, the NHS, is progressing well. In addition to trials with Linda and the Borders, we've engaged with Edinburgh and Grampian NHS, which is also progressing well. We see occupational health as another market opportunity and are pursuing this market. Use within the military could be significant, with potential use for early remote detection of lung injuries in the field, be it from shrapnel or inhalation of toxic gases. We've engaged with DASA where early feedback is positive. Another market, sports use. Currently, lung function measurements are restricted to rather unpleasant tests, which I can confirm. Initial discussions with a couple of national level coaches have demonstrated an interest in defined gain for the technology. They are keen to be involved in initial trials. We're aware that there could be interest from large consumer organisations. Companies like Garmin, Fitbit, Apple all produce sensors and gather data for use in processing on their own third-party platforms. I'm sure we all wear one today. We will be focusing on our primary markets first, where we believe the technology is needed most. Our primary market is with NHS trusts. In the UK, there are 260, 31 of these are in Scotland. Taking the largest lung disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, there are at least 1 million diagnosed in the UK. COPD accounts for over 100,000 emergency admissions a year. Latest ONS figures suggest 10% get long COVID. That's over 400,000 in the UK right now, over 4.1 million worldwide, and numbers are rising exponentially. When we combine COVID and COPD, the potential market is staggering. Our business model will be on a rental basis to health providers and the NHS. There will be basic bundles that provide the base system functionality and premier options for bespoke solutions. In the first 12 months, we will be concentrating on separation from the university and securing further NHS pilots, during which time the user interface will be refined, updated, and tailored to each usage case. We're engaging with existing digital health platforms that already have penetration in the UK and international markets. Following successful NHS rollout, a wider rollout within the UK is envisaged, including occupational health segments. Development and implementation in the military, sports, and consumer segments will continue, with a planned rollout worldwide to all segments from 36 months onwards. Although we are already in discussions to conduct trials in the United States and several other countries worldwide. Simon.
Thank you. This is our team. Thanks to Grey Matters, we've built a strong commercial team to propel this university spin out forward. We'll continue to develop routes to market, obtain regulatory approval, and build a strong brand and messages to win orders. We appreciate that speed to market is key, and this is where we seek your help to accelerate our commercialisation. We want to trial in every NHS region within months, and then the ability to scale up at pace. It couldn't be more important to get this technology deployed in our NHS right now. We're very excited and we hope you are too. Please join us with Breathe Insights breakout room later. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Simon and team. If you could unshare your screen, please, Simon. Yeah, thank you, Simon, Martin. Okay, and that's brilliant that you actually have your first field trial already. That is absolutely amazing. Okay, now Rob would like to introduce you to decarbon filtration to deliver cleaner, healthier air. Rob, it's over to you.
Good morning. Common sight throughout Northern Europe in winter. In the UK, we currently have 29 million homes still using fossil fuels for domestic heating, contributing 73 million tonnes of CO2 annually to the atmosphere, which equates to 11% of our overall greenhouse gases. The UK, the average household emits approximately 9 tonnes of CO2 annually. Heating emissions contribute 2.7 tonnes or 31% of this. And for us to achieve net zero by 2050 requires a 95% reduction from current levels, a monumental task. In 1993, legislation was introduced to control and limit harmful emissions from vehicles. In 2007, smoking in public places was banned to reduce exposure to passive smoke. And for those of us old enough to remember the basic weather forecasts in the 70s and 80s, we now have air quality forecasts detailing pollen levels and also air pollution forecasts. So why is it still commonplace and acceptable in 2021 for these types of emissions from home heating systems? Well, the reason is due to lax legislation and lack of available and affordable solutions. However, with binding net zero commitments now and a clean air strategy, an increasing amount of local authority smoke control areas, is it just a matter of time before we see a CO2 levy and a pollution tax for home heating emissions introduced similar to road vehicles? There are many technologies addressing the decarbonisation of home heating. However, with upfront costs ranging from £10,000 to £20,000 to install and a payback of 7 to 10 years, they are simply unaffordable to most people. The government's grand initiatives of decarbonising energy at source will be decades before they are technically and commercially viable. There is therefore a massive opportunity to provide solutions to eliminate emissions from the existing 200 million systems throughout UK and Europe. Welcome to Decarbon. Our mission is to develop technologies and solutions to eliminate greenhouse gases and toxic air emissions. Our team is made up of experts in product development, commercialization, air emissions monitoring, architectural and building design and surveying, building business development, and communications and marketing. We have 4 business streams, all with separate product lines, oil and gas and military, where the focus is on temporary equipment emissions, farming for methane emissions, and residential homes for fossil fuel heating emissions. Martin.
Imagine if there was a solution to eliminate harmful emissions and particulate matter, assure air quality, avoid future pollution tax, and perhaps more attractively, save you thousands of pounds by not having to upgrade to expensive renewable energy. Decarbon are now developing a solution for all of these that will aid achievement of net zero. Our products will remove particulate matter, toxic gases, CO2, and will incorporate online air quality monitoring, therefore creating the world's first fully integrated emissions filter. How is this possible? We're looking towards other industries that manage emissions from combustion engines, CO2 scrubbing, online removal of soot, and advanced air quality sensor technology. We're taking these proven technologies and packaging together to develop two main products. For gas and oil boilers, flues, our plan is to retrofit small and modular emissions filtration devices based on combustion engine emissions and diesel particulate filtration technology. For solid fuel systems such as log burners and coal fires, we plan to use advanced electrostatic filtration combined with HEPA filters to remove the particulate matter and harmful gases. Working with our academic and industry partners, we will incorporate latest material science and nanotechnology, targeting 10-year life, minimal maintenance, and plug-and-play installation. We are integrating latest air quality monitoring technology to demonstrate the effectiveness of our solutions, and therefore we are currently partnering with academia to accurately measure gas boiler emissions, and are personally trialling wireless monitoring technology within the team at this stage. The video playing in the background is a sensor currently live in Rob's house. Our goal is to integrate online air emissions control and monitoring within your smart home heating control systems, so that you, the consumers, and local authorities can accurately monitor their respective carbon footprints. The timeline for the rollout into field trials will initially be to individual homes, including early stage investors, followed closely by local authority trials and complete street trials. The trial units will have monitoring included to validate the lab trial results, and in the case where whole street trials are conducted, air quality monitoring will be conducted in the street away from the flues to monitor the local impact. The trials will then be rolled out to whole neighbourhood areas. For the first 6 months, we'll be focusing on developing a minimum viable product to TRL3 that meets the functionality for complete emissions removal. We're targeting technology certification and regulatory approval within 24 months, and thereafter large-scale manufacturing and industry partners. Within 30 months, our B2B routes to market will be established for rollout in the UK and to Europe within 36 months. Ike.
Thanks, Matt. So what's the size of the prize? There are 200 million fossil fuel heating systems across UK and Europe. And categorized by this table, the majority of these systems will be around for many more decades and beyond 2050 net zero. If we start with total available market of 252 million households across Europe, we then arrive at a serviceable market of 200 million households with fossil fuel systems. We are targeting 10% of this as our obtainable market size over 10 years, approximately 20 million homes. We have a simple B2B model whereby the average net sell price from our distributors to consumers will be approximately £350 per product. With an obtainable market of 20 million users, this equates to distributor revenue of 1 billion in UK and 6 billion in Europe. Decarbon will retain 10% royalties on sales, resulting in 10 million and 600 million revenues, respectively. Our initial target market will drill down to those with vested interest in wanting or needing our products, such as environmentally and health conscious homeowners, local authorities in smoke control zones, and early stage investors. Rob.
Okay. It's important to show how decarbon differentiate from other decarbonising heat methods when comparing affordability versus convenience. These currently available technologies range from £10,000 to over £20,000, but the disruption can be significant when considering floors throughout properties have to be lifted or replaced. These are emerging technologies, but currently very limited. And hydrogen will be decades before it can be produced as cheap as natural gas. Decarbon's niche is right here, where affordability meets convenience, and we offer a radically different solution to the rest. Our funding strategy is aligned with the aggressive growth, and we are seeking pre-seed amount of £430 for the initial 12 months of R&D and local field trials. Underpinning this, we have already secured funding from Scottish Enterprise and Innovation Vouchers, and we have recently applied for Scottish Edge and will be applying for Innovate UK Smart Grants. We are therefore seeking early stage investors keen supporters on our growth journey. In closing, Decarbon believe everyone has the right to clean air. We believe our precious planet is worth saving from irreparable damage, and we must urgently address the greenhouse gas emissions and pollution from our home heating systems and to support the drive to net zero. Together, we can be a part of the solution by providing affordable technologies for a net zero future, turning toxic fumes into clean air for the health of our people and planet. Thank you.
Fantastic, guys. Fantastic, Rob. Thanks for clearing the air. Brilliant. Very, very good. Okay, we're going to go over to Paul now with apps. Paul, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay. Yeah, I'm Paul McAllister, leader of Adaptive Process Solutions, or APPS for short. We're a new process equipment rental business, and we specialise in produced water treatment. I'm accompanied by our business development specialist, Ian Fullerton, who will be speaking to you shortly. I have spent decades solving produced water problems, and one thing that's kept me awake at night is the thought of hammering square pegs into round holes. Apologies to oil and gas people here, but I'm going to need to set the scene for everybody. The main purpose of an offshore production platform is to produce and separate oil, gas, and water. The water is treated and discharged to the sea, and the oil and gas are shipped or piped, to the shore. As the life cycle of an offshore platform progresses, the amount of produced water increases until the production system can no longer cope with the volume of water, nor can it meet the legal discharge limit of 30 parts per million oil contamination to the sea. This problem is called produced water bottlenecking, and production may have to be cut back until the system can be upgraded with new build equipment. It takes about 2 years to design, build, and install new build equipment. And in the meantime, a lot of production is lost or deferred, not to mention marine pollution. We'll be offering rental equipment that can be deployed off the shelf at just a few weeks' notice. Our clients are the major operators and FPS owners, and our mission is to increase produced water handling capacity and cut marine pollution, increase oil and gas production, and increase revenue. We will cut lift cost and cut CO2 emissions per barrel. Over to you, Ian.
Ian, maybe you're muted. Ian, are you muted?
Ian, yeah.
Done it. Let's try again. Why I hold the view that the oil and gas sector has a very good future. We've done a lot of research as we prepare to set up the company, so apologies for grounding this presentation with facts. Recent respected reports on the global economy are predicting that although we'll use less oil for transport and power in 2050, overall, there's a distinct possibility that we'll need about the same amount of oil as we do today. The demand for the things that are made from oil-based derivatives, such as parts for electric cars, batteries, pharmaceuticals, and even wind turbine blades will double. To maintain oil supply at that level, the oil operators will need to maximize the productivity on their aging offshore assets. This slide from the OGA database shows that the amount of produced water continues to increase on aging North Sea platforms. In fact, right now, the UK produces just under 1 million barrels of oil a day, but every day they have to process and discharge to sea 4 million barrels of water, produced water. Globally, the situation is very similar, which means that the app solution will be meeting the needs and the demands of a growing market. Let me give you a quick example here. Every day that an oil and gas operator loses the production of, say, 2,500 barrels of oil because they can't process additional water, costs them over £100,000 per day, or nearly £40 million per year. So they need the equipment and the service that we'll provide, and they need it pretty fast. Overall, their payback, or the payback on our costs to the operator, takes about 2 weeks, and the ratio of increased oil revenue versus the cost of our services is normally around 10 to 1. Our beachhead target market will be the North Sea oil, gas and FPSO operators and the subsea sector. The process of winning work in this market is sales-led, because dealing with produced water problems is a recurring but unplanned issue for the operators, which demands a fast and a reliable solution. There are 28 operators in the UK with 101 platforms discharging water. These all have asset and production managers who have the budget authority to engage our type of service at short notice. Our sales team will maintain continuous contact with these key players so that they're aware we're aware of their produced water issues and can react quickly. As far as the market entry strategy is concerned, we aim to generate early revenue, build trust and reputation, and build relationships. We will take a phased approach. First, offshore produced water treatment studies, then offshore filtration work using hired equipment, finally moving to full-scale offshore work using our own equipment. There's only one significant competitor providing similar rental services, and their operation is well known to us. In fact, in discussion with our prospective clients, we're advised that our new services will be welcomed into the market. In summary, we will remove the bottleneck in the whole process. Our offering to our clients will meet their strategic needs in that we'll remove the additional produced water obstacle, we'll increase oil production, we'll be able to quickly mobilize a reliable solution offshore. It'll be environmental because we'll reduce marine pollution, we'll reduce the amount of CO2 emissions per barrel, and we'll maintain our clients' green credentials. And finally, and importantly, financially, we will restore the revenue flow, we'll reduce the cost per barrel, and we'll deliver fast payback on the project that we are involved in. So I'll now hand you back to Paul.
Yeah, I hope that woke everyone up. The tradition in our industry is to hammer square pegs into round holes. The normal practice is to fit one internal technology into a pressure vessel skid for its whole lifetime, offering limited capabilities. However, every produced water is unique and there are a wide range of problems. So our equipment is adaptive to the specific needs of each problem, hence our company name. Our solutions are adaptive because every produced water is unique. We can load our offshore vessel skids with any one of 4 different internal technologies. This means that we need 40% less pressure vessels in our fleet. But each one of these technologies is also designed to be adjustable. And this leverages the performance and cost optimization even more. To use an analogy, Range Rovers can cope with many situations. Just twist the terrain button and you can travel from the farm to the supermarket to the ski centre. You can picture one of our projects as follows. First, our chemist goes offshore and she surveys and analyses the plant, the production fluids, and she collects the key data. She then recommends the best performing technologies to the client, who will take cost into account in coming to his decision. The selected technology is loaded into our pressure vessel skid and deployed offshore to be followed by our personnel who will commission and operate it. We have 3 additional technologies in mind for research and development. These are believed patentable and will add long-term value to our business. They're not required to meet our first 3 years of revenue, and we will begin rolling them out in years 4 and 5. They'll be developed in tandem with an outside research institution. I know the market very well, having spent 9 years leading produced water services for the main player in the rental market. I've been talking with clients recently, and they all report produced water problems. They like the idea of more adaptive equipment and would welcome another player in the market. The total offshore produced water market was worth £2 billion in 2019. The global market for offshore rental equipment is around £400 million. And the target market in our region is worth around £60 million. The rental market has continued to stay positive since the 2014 downturn, and projects have been running through the current pandemic as well. There's a well-established competition in US and Brazil, but there's only one significant player in our target regions. Right, the roadmap. Well, I always get maps upside down and things like that, and my wife has to sort me out. So we're going to use our Garmin today. The first step towards our destination is to secure finance in 2021, and to build our first equipment. Our first revenue will be 2022. We'll travel onwards into Norway, West Africa, and Asia Pacific. We'll also land our first patent that year. We'll arrive at our destination when we turn over £10 million in 2027 and employ 50 staff.
You have arrived at your destination.
I'm building a team to lead and grow the company, and everyone has strong operator or service company experience. We are going to need investment from partners who share our goals, values, and vision to strengthen our team with your expertise. We envisage a mixture of grant, loan, and equity funding. We have developed a business plan and cash flow, and we will require £1.2 million to get us to a self-funding situation. Thanks, Ian, for presenting, and also to the rest of the team, Mike Coots, Gary Smith, and Rob Marshall. I'd also like to thank John and Karen and all of you for listening, and we look forward to meeting with you in the breakout room later on. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I like the whole route map thing and arriving at your destination. Brilliant. Thank you, Paul and Ian. So next up, we've got an innovative approach to reducing non-productive time. And for that, we're going to go over to Mike and his MPT Solutions team. Mike, are you there?
Yes, indeed. My ex-wife took this photo back in 2011. She did say I'd look back and regret it. So I'm just coming to the end of another 16-hour day due to continual interruptions during my workday with technical and operational support. I'm sitting at midnight approving expense reports, and I'm being helped by my 3-year-old daughter, Molly. She hadn't seen me for 2 days, and that night she was determined to see her dad. She come through just before midnight and wasn't going to bed until she helped me finish my work so I could snuggle down with her. I've spent so much of her early years and far too much family time dealing with repeat failures and ongoing issues, and not enough with the people and tasks that matter the most. And it does have a detrimental effect. And I'm sure many here today, regardless of industry, can relate to this. For me, how we worked had to change. And that change was transformational. I'm Mike Magruder, founder of Non-Productive Time Solutions. We will transform well engineering performance through the power of data and artificial intelligence. Now, I'd like to introduce you to my artificial intelligence partner, who'll do just that.
Hello, I'm Ariadne, the world's first AI virtual partner to support well engineering. Our mission is to save the industry billions per year by reducing non-productive time, make the industry safer, and support the drive to net zero. Welcome to the future. As you go about your daily tasks, I bring value by seamlessly working behind the scenes, ensuring that we incorporate lessons learned and best practices into your work as you plan. And I will certainly improve your internal and external communication, knowledge, and information sharing, ensuring sustainability. I'm really looking forward to working with you. I'd now like to pass you over to someone with less personality than me.
What?
Only joking. Mike, I'd love it if you could explain to the audience why artificial intelligence is superior for predicting and preventing failure through data intelligence.
Hey, Andy, we sense of human adjustment there, please.
No, I think she's working fine.
Okay then. So let me tell you an old oil field story from Sakhalin. The job was a 4-well campaign where all wells and services were identical. The first 3 wells went flawlessly. The last, the 4th, a nightmare. We couldn't get down the well with the well tractor. So what is a well tractor? Well, this is a tractor. This is not a well tractor. This is a well tractor. After numerous attempts, we pulled a hole and now we're on non-productive time, where every hour lost is costing thousands of dollars. On the rig, everything that could be done was being done, but we had to try something different. A decision was made to run 2 tractors, double the force to get down the well. Now that strategy paid off, it may have not. Initially, the service company was held accountable for the non-productive time. They were firmly in the doghouse. Weeks later, it was discovered that the fluid used for well control in the 4th well was different from the first 3. If not circulated, it would become highly viscous, sludgy. So the lesson learned was the well tractor didn't have the drive force to displace the mud. When reconfiguring 2 tandem tractors, they then had enough drive to displace the mud and complete the operation. So while the objective was safely achieved, there was the issue of 45 hours of non-productive time costing $375,000 on rig time alone. So who should have captured that mud change? This oversight should have been captured in job planning, where communication, system, and cultural issues were all part of the root cause. So if it were caught, how different would this story be? I'd now like to hand you over to Andy to give insight into Ariadne, our solution to that problem.
So exactly who or what is Ariadne? As she stated earlier, Ariadne is our AI partner. She will also become your best friend and a trusted advisor, providing you with all the knowledge that you need when you need it, allowing you to make faster, more informed decisions. Now, using AI to make life easier is not new. We already have Alexa, Siri, Hey Google helping us with our day-to-day tasks. Ariadne, however, is a bit more specialized. She will be helping you when you are planning a job, making sure that you utilize all the information that you have available to you. So you'll plan your job as you normally would. And while you populate the criteria, Ariadne is monitoring what you're doing. She then acts as a librarian / technical advisor, taking the information, deciding what similar or related tasks could be or have been used in the past, and will then cross-check the results between your service quality databases and your job planning databases, just to make sure that nothing is missed. She'll also note any discrepancies along the way. She will then return a list of any key actions or points from relevant lessons learned, so details of previous risk assessments and their relevant outcomes. Was the risk assessment suitable? Was it accurate? And all of this is then shown to you in order of importance and relevance, so that you have the information at hand to help you complete the job plan and the accompanying risk assessment. We see this as the heart of Ariadne, a helping hand to wade through all of that data, someone to do the boring bit so that you don't have to. But we don't plan on stopping there. Our ultimate goal is to allow Ariadne to act as a collaborator between our clients and their contractors, meaning that Ariadne would have the capability of incorporating lessons learned from different companies to provide a more accurate and effective advice to anyone within a shared ecosystem. Now, using a new and specific form of machine learning means that Ariadne can learn from other companies' data, but that data never leaves that company. It's never shared. So there are no conflicts around data confidentiality. Only the knowledge of how to behave in future is preserved. Thus, we proactively prevent failure through data intelligence. Now, so how would that situation Mike just described play out if Ariadne had been there to help? Mike.
If Ariadne was an integrated AI partner, she would have done analysis, work behind the scene while you created the job plan. She would then have informed you that A, your plan is compliant with current policies and procedures, and B, that there is an increased risk based on a discrepancy between the properties of the wellbore fluid compared to previous wells. This advance notice in the planning stage would then prompt you to investigate how this mud change will affect your plan. It would also have saved the headache and lost time that we had trying to figure out the problem. It's that simple. I'll now hand you over to Ian to review our market.
Thanks, Mike. Every major industry suffers from non-productive time. The oil and gas sector is particularly affected by it. Despite the fact that they're great at gathering data, the potential true value is not realized today, but it could be. Ariadne is the AI planning partner that many industries can benefit from. It's why we want to establish this solution. Looking at our competitors, the closest we've found is one company whose AI assistant can answer over 100,000 technical questions. They're currently piloting their technology in North America. Could this help you with your NPT? Yes, if you ask it the right questions. As with all AI assistants, they are reliant on that initial human interaction before they react. That's our key differentiator. We will give you an AI partner, someone to proactively help, not just be an assistant. We will effectively enable companies to save money by learning from their mistakes. We have validated the requirement for Ariadne in discussion with several offshore service companies and oil majors. In addition, we believe that the tool will be equally effective in other non-commercial business sectors. We are in continuing discussion with project collaborators such as Data Labs, DASA, and Edinburgh University, who are all very keen to assist with product development. Successful entrants into the AI marketplace have large earning capacity. We envisage Ariadne will be made available as a software product on an annual subscription plus a licensed user basis. We understand the obstacles posed by the need for the confidentiality of business data. Our solution protects that need. And with that, I'll hand you back to Mike.
Thanks, Ian. So see this guy? He said he'd make electric cars for the masses and send rockets to Mars. It was said just a few years back he was crazy. You know what he said in reply? You shouldn't do things differently just because they're different. They need to be better. The true simple value in Ariadne is the fact that she's an AI partner, not an AI assistant. What's the difference? You interact with an AI assistant. An AI partner interacts with you, watching your back, preventing mistakes, ultimately saving time and money. And above all, with peace of mind, you go home and shouldn't have to work a 16-hour day dealing with the same old issues. What we ask, come and talk to us and join us in our breakout room. I'd like to finish by saying a big thank you to the team and everyone else from the Grey Matters clan for the help behind the scenes. Thanks for the support and effort. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mike, Andy, and Ian. And you're going to have your hands full managing Ariadne there, I think. Very good. Excellent, excellent presentation. So last, but absolutely not least, the solution to remote pipeline integrity monitoring. I'd like to introduce you to Musab and his squadron asset integrity team. Over to you guys.
So, out on BP Clare's platform, 47 miles west of Shetland, Bill Simpson was doing some manual inspection to check pipe thickness and making sure there is no evidence of internal corrosion. He reckons there must be miles of pipe in this platform alone, and it often occurs to him that although he can inspect this location, he has no real idea of what's going on in the adjacent sections that he can't reach. What if there's corrosion at that junction over there? It would take him and his 3-man team 2 more days just to set up, all for a 30-minute inspection. Also, the measurements he takes are single point, and they only tell the story on the day they were made. What happens between now and the next inspection, 6 months on? He moves on further down the line, noting his observations on his bang! The noise is deafening. His ears are ringing. He's swinging violently about like a leaf in the wind. What the happened? The pipe he had just inspected had failed catastrophically. Bill can't focus. The background noise becomes faint. A blackness descends on his consciousness. His body goes limp on the riding belt. So why did this happen? Now, there is obviously a problem. Offshore infrastructure in the UK is ageing. 40 plus years is not uncommon, with many of it exceeding its initial design life. Inspection backlogs. Manual inspections are slow and labour intensive and often involve considerable risk by putting people in the line of fire. Poor data management. Historical inspection data is often lost due to asset change and service provider changes. And with the current economic situation, it is no surprise that limited resources are available for inspection. Recent industry stats have revealed that the overall cost of asset integrity to the UKCS is estimated to be 800 million annually and growing. My name is Gary Smith, and together with the rest of the team, it's a pleasure to introduce you to Squadron Asset Integrity and what we see as the future of corrosion monitoring. Rob.
We are developing a smart integrity sleeve. This sleeve contains hundreds or thousands of macro sensors within a matrix configuration, which are housed and protected within an innovative shell, which can easily and quickly be clamped externally around any pipe or vessel to measure change in material thickness. This non-intrusive product and installation allows it to be applied on multiple systems and also where access is not possible for conventional monitoring devices, such as under insulation. Existing technologies are based on single or multi-point monitoring, whereas our technology provides comprehensive 360-degree monitoring for large surface areas and extended distances. The Smart Sleeve provides remote and continuous monitoring and can relay data wirelessly via the client's network or directly via the cloud to our software platform, which will be developed using artificial intelligence to provide insight and predictive analytics, which are currently not available on the market. The sensor uses pipe expansion and contraction due to internal pressure to calculate the pipe wall thickness. Series of algorithms will be used to identify the defects and locations and predict the damage mechanism. Musab.
We can provide a valuable insight using the data that we collect from the Smart Integrity Sleeve, such as reducing inspection requirements, optimization of chemical injections, predictive maintenance, and automated life extension assessments. Our value proposition is to increase the confidence to sustain production through data-driven insights. Our technology is simple, easy to use, and cost-effective. It improves safety and reduces the need to carry out high-risk inspection activities in confined spaces or at height. Our goal is to increase production uptime by 10% using data analytics and insights, and to unlock the huge potential of digital transformation. Gary?
Thank you, Musab. We have in our team an experienced corrosion and integrity engineers, and it is their years of pain in the oil and gas industry that sparked this idea. Several of us have direct experience in taking businesses from startup product development right through to commercialization and acquisition. And finally, we have specific expertise in IT, software, and communications. We have identified 4 clear market segments that we believe will benefit from this technology: oil and gas, utilities, specifically water and power generation, defence, and finally, transition to net zero for carbon capture, and hydrogen blending for domestic heating. The smart sleeve can be used for CO2 and hydrogen transportation, where the corrosion mechanisms are unique, and our technology can provide the data and insight to ensure the safe operation of existing infrastructure. We have identified oil and gas as our target market. This is where we have spent the majority of our careers, and we know the industry well. I'll now hand you over to Victor.
Thanks, Gary. The total oil and gas corrosion market is estimated to be around $1.4 billion, with the pipeline and facilities market taking a chunk of that to about $589 million. The corrosion monitoring market, however, is estimated to be around $300 million, and with a growth rate of 10% annually. So the market is huge and it's growing. We intend to initially focus on the local markets, first targeting operators, service providers, and companies specializing in digital twinning. But we are open to working with the right client anywhere in the world. Initial discussions with some local clients and potential partners are ongoing. So we've identified 4 revenue streams. This includes direct sales, rental of hardware where the data is managed by the client, SaaS, which is software as a service, where we support our client to monitor the data and report any findings. We also will offer complete engineering and integrity support services. The SaaS pricing, SaaS software as a service, will depend on the number of sleeves needed, but we are estimating an annual subscription of $14,000 per unit, which would include man hours and reporting. We have laid out a roadmap of what we'd like to achieve in the next 4 years. We have already kicked off work and have engaged with academia, completed initial patent search, which shows no competing IP. We've also completed initial work with the sensors and are currently working on a prototype. We plan the proof of concept testing to start next month. Within the first year, we are looking to secure our first field trials and first customers by the end of 2021. We will then build upon that and look to introduce the technology to the utilities sector by 2023, followed by the carbon capture and storage in 2025. Gary?
So what are we looking for? We're looking for early stage investment. We estimate somewhere in the range of £750,000 will be required to get us to the first commercial product. Looking for customers. We need to secure customers and partners who can help us bring the technology to market. And finally, we're looking for field trials. We're looking for partners who can help us secure field trials, be it service companies or operators. So in summary, we have a solution that will remove the inconsistency and risk from corrosion inspection while providing value-added insight that is currently not available in the market. And remember Bill, well, you'll be glad to hear he's okay, and he can now carry out pipe inspections remotely wherever he is without the need to ever put him. This is what we should be striving for, ensure that others like him are returned safely to their loved ones at the end of each shift, securing the knowledge that the smart integrity sleeves are constantly relaying pipe condition 24/7. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you today, and it'd be great to meet you in our breakout room if you have any questions or feel you could support us on our journey.
Well, thank you. You know, what an amazing job everybody's done. I thank you very much for everything, all that you put into the program so far. I'm absolutely blown away by everything I've seen. Now, I'd like to remind all of our guests that we'd like you to join the breakout rooms. We've put a little icon at the bottom of your Zoom chart where you have the breakout rooms, and you can click on that and choose whichever breakout room you'd like to go and see. You can go and visit any one of them, all of them. You can move between them and come back. Karen and I will stay here in the main room, just so that we can actually, you know, interface with you and guide you around. I'm going to do something really unusual. I'm going to give you each £50,000. You gasp in amazement, I know. We've got an app that we're going to run, and Karen will give you the details of that in just a moment. I believe it's on Menti. We want to, first of all, ask you for some comments. We'd like to get some feedback from you to get some comments. And we would like to, Omar, could you mute your mic, please? I think, Omar, I don't know if I can do that here. Yeah. There we go. Thank you. So I'm going to give you £50,000 in play money, and we're going to ask you a question just to give you some feedback on the some feedback on our program today. And we're also going to ask you where you would like to spend that £50,000. Who will you invest that money with? We'd love to see that from you. So I would remind you, we'd like you to go and click onto that breakout rooms and go and visit one of the breakout rooms that's in there. Actually, what I just want to do finally before you go, I just want to do a couple of things. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to, again, all of our sponsors. I want to say thank you to all of my colleagues at Elevator, and in particular to Karen Clark. She gives and gives and gives and supports everybody in the program. So thank you very much, Karen. I'd like to thank all of our contributors and presenters. We couldn't do it without you. It's been amazing, and we've managed to do it virtually. That's just absolutely incredible. I'd like to thank all of you, our guests, for turning up today to come and see what we have to offer. But most importantly, I'd like to thank the cohort, the Grey Matters cohort, for living and breathing the values of our charter. You saw it there in spades in each of those presentations. You saw teams working together around great ideas. So please log on to Menti, use that passcode that you see on the screen, give us some feedback on the showcase, and the second question is, where will you spend your 50,000? And you cannot keep it, unfortunately. So yeah, we need it back. It's actually play money. So please now, off you go, press on one of the breakout rooms and go and visit.
First of all, everybody, can you please just give us your feedback? That's great. I can see loads of them coming through now. And then if you go to the next question, and then we can share the slide with who gets the money before we open the breakout rooms.
Okay, okay, let's do that. It'll only take a couple of seconds, won't it?
Yeah, yeah. So we need to know who you're going to give your £50,000 to. Press the button now before I announce the winner. I'm going to give you 2 minutes, just 30 seconds or so. Here we go, they're all coming in now. Okay, we're going to press enter.
You got it, Karen?
Yeah, we're going to press enter to see the winner now.
Oh!
Oh!
Well done, guys. Well done.
Well done, Acronatus and D-Carbon.
Excellent. So excellent. So yes, please, please head off to the breakout rooms. There's a little box at the bottom called breakout rooms on your Zoom screen. Please go and visit any of the companies you want to go see.
Breakout rooms are now open.
And well done, everybody. That was just incredible. If anybody needs any help with the breakout rooms, we're here to give you some guidance if you wish.
Andrew Jaffrey, you still there?
Yes, I am.
And down the bottom, there should be an icon like 4 little squares. Can you see that there? No?
No.
No. Who do you want to go and visit first of all? What I can do, Andrew, is put you in the room, then you can jump out and I can put you in somewhere else, yeah?
Okay, thank you.
Where would you like to go?
Aquanaut.